All right, guys. Hey, welcome. Here we have. Well, you know what, man? It's your show. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you did?
It's Amit Deol, and I got third place at the YCS this weekend, or
Nice,
past weekend, yeah, with Sky Striker.
nice, man. So, before we jump into the profile, did you have any shout-outs or anything?
Yeah, shout outs to Team Xeno Zero and Team Jobbers, the teams I play for. Shout outs to, Xeno Zero Gaming and Gamers Choice, awesome locals, some of the best in the country. Shout outs to, I guess, Area 51 too. Shout outs to my friend Matthew Bauer, Cam, Tevin, a lot of people, Mark, Tommy. There's just so many different people.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, Brian Chen too, I guess. Brian and Kenny Nguyen. So
Had to shout those guys out for the Sky Striker page, right?
yeah. Well, Brian's the reason I'm playing this deck. He whipped me too many times with it, and I felt like I had to build a striker variant. So
Cool, man. So, why don't we jump into the profile? You can show us what you played and explain some of your card choices.
cool. Let's see. So you got the picture up there, right? Or is this
Yep.
you want me to like show the physical copies?
Totally up to you, man. However you want to do it. We could take a look if you got some pretty cardboard you want to show off, or we could go based off the picture.
Just use the physical copies right now. Sure, it's not that pretty, but all right. So what we have here is I don't know if I'm on here yet, but I got a three Ray best card, best deck.
Definitely.
Really awesome card here. There's no explanation needed for it. One Rose. Rose pretty much just needed one. It's just another striker name, and it's got some utility. I guess if I run into like a person who drops a Dragoon on me, so
Sure, sure.
uh, then three Ash Blossom card can like stop anything this format. Pretty self-explanatory. One Veiler. Reason I just played this is because Axis code. I felt like there were times where I needed that push. I tried playing around with the deck and maining cherries before. Hit Doodle Doo or hit whatever because Prank Kids is a bad matchup. I played against in top four and lost. And to be fair, I did mess up my game too, but I should have gone to game three. But that's on. Congrats to Aaron. He did well. He played it really well. So yeah, one effect dealer, literally just Rax's code. Three Gamma and Driver. I know a lot of people probably are wondering about this. Why? And found it kind of weird. The reason being is that it's a hand trap that, for the most part, stops a lot of the key cards this format. It could stop an Enchantress at search, or if I'm playing against like a Flunder player, it's not like going to be like a Bell that's just like useless in my hand. Like I can actually use it on like a Flunder monster's normal summon and then just shut off their turn. The other thing too is that it's also reactive if my opponent tries to stop me with their hand trap. So let's say if I, play Rhoda and they troll me or something, I
Sure.
can just drop this on them, and then it just drops the hammer. So then it's an instant DP. So it's really
Nice,
good.
nice.
Yeah. Also, I can always use it for healthy Fibrax, and then yeah, these right here, the bricks.
Did you draw them a lot?
Uh, I kind of did. I did draw them a lot actually. I remember I played my feature match of day one, and game three, I opened both of them.
Oh
I
wow,
opened them
really?
both a lot. Yeah, but I still won sometimes. Like a lot of the times when I did draw two, I still won, which is crazy. I mean, the rest of the cards in the deck kind of just do a lot for you, and you can play even like with a handicap. So that's what I really liked about it as well.
Awesome.
Uh, yeah, two Enchantress, and two right, one Venture, and one Draco back. All right, I know a lot of people are probably wondering about this. I saw a lot of people questioning it. The reasoning for this being is that I tried a lot of different ratios for this. I decided to play the Brave Engine because I felt like it added a different dimension to the deck. It loads spells into graveyard as well as it lets me make an instant DP. The other thing is that it kind of forces my opponent's stuff out before I start playing my actual striker cards. So yeah, once this stuff is burning through my opponent's board or what they have, then I'm just playing the striker cards and just going for the kill. So yeah, 2 and 2, 2 adventure, 2 enchantress. Reasoning being is that you just really don't need 3 of each. Uh, you don't want to draw too many copies of the same card, and I feel like after you use it the first time, it kind of fulfills its role for the deck. It's not really necessary to play 3 and 3. Room is also kind of tight, like very tight in the deck. So I also wanted to see more hand variants. Like if I'm just seeing mostly just rights and water enchantresses in my hand and like one striker card or something like that, then it's not really as strong. It's not a strong hand.
Yeah, for sure.
But with like yeah, if I draw one of each of these and then or if I draw like with this ratio, I'm pretty much guaranteed to draw other cards that aren't just adventure cards.
Okay, so you just didn't
Uh,
want it to like clog your striker hands, like just being like full of adventure cards.
yeah, yeah. I remember it's sort of a similar logic I used. Like I remember I got like top 64 Nats in like 2018 playing Striker with Trickstar.
Okay.
And I also decided to play 2 and 2 with the Trickstar cards for the exact same reason because I needed more hand variants. So yeah, that's the logic behind this. And for people wondering about zones clogged or whatever, we got Zeke, we got Verde, so not really that bad. Like we easily clear up our zones.
For sure.
Yeah. So the next card is obviously best card in the deck, Engage. You know, no explanation needed.
Yeah, not really.
Uh, yeah, 1 area 0, 2's unnecessary. I do play terraforming, so that's good. And if you see like multiple copies of this card, it's not like you can place 1 area 0 and then place another area 0 and then area 0 that away. It's like you can only really use one. So
Yeah,
yeah, 3 anchor card's awesome. Part of why I play this deck because this deck has main deck answers to a lot of problematic cards in the format, like Scythe, or if you're playing against Flunder and they're dropping like a barrier statue on you or an M-Pin. I do mention Flunder a lot. I do think it's a matchup that is actually a lot of people underestimate, And I did play against the top four. Hanko was playing it. He's really good. Shout outs to him for that, playing that deck all the way to the top. But yeah, this card really helps, and taking people's monsters, being able to use it for my own Verde is just great. Hitting the scythe. So here we go. One shark cannon, two's unnecessary. I usually just want to search this card out, and I don't really want to open it most of the time.
okay. Would you say, obviously DPE is a very prevalent card this format. Would you say you have pretty easy access to Shark Cannon when you need it, or would you think about playing more than one going forward?
No, I have a lot of good access to it. It's kind of dead against like matchups. It like Flunder. There's other ones. I guess against Virtual World, that's also a matchup where I felt like Shark Cannon, 2 Shark Cannon wasn't really that great. I needed to see other cards, so yeah, I could just end phase search this off Shizuku and then play it, or I could just Hayate, grab Kagari, but usually I would just engage and then grab it too.
All right,
So
for sure.
yeah, more than one not needed. I mean, there's only like one instance where I'd say more than one's maybe needed. Is if you're playing against the Eldritch matchup and they decide to Hakiero your Shark Cannon, kind of makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, sure. It'd
Yeah,
be pretty big brain of
yeah,
them though if they're gonna Hawk Arrow, like if they're assuming you're on one Shark Cannon.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the only card it's one of the cards that really solidifies their loss. So, I mean, if they know what they're doing, they're gonna go for this card.
Cool.
So yeah, I played one multi-role. This is also good because just like Area 0, if I can't link away tokens or whatever, I can always just like pop it with my multi-role if I have it, and end phase sets and all kinds of stuff. So I mean, I also do like that I can play this card, activate it, and then I can play my Fusion Destiny without being interrupted. So
Yeah, that's really
that's
strong.
pretty good. Yeah. One Hornet Drone. It's another name. interestingly enough, you can equip a Draco back to it and bounce a card. So,
Oh, I
uh,
never thought of that. That's really cool.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it does that. It's pretty good. I like the card. And if I ever just don't need it later in the game, I can just send it off by Ate and build my grave. So, um, Afterburner, I really like this card. Uh, with people playing a lot of decks that just drop a Savage and all sorts of stuff on board, you kind of do need something that's going to force out the negations before you start playing. And I also like the fact that I could just hit a back row as well is just really, really strong. Eldritch does play like back row. Obviously, it's a back row deck, and if I had certain situations come up where I play this and then I pop their skill drain or whatever, so that was really good. Uh, let's see here. Terraforming, Area Zero. Rhoda just grabs Ray. Droplet, this card really good. Like I said again, Prank Kids is kind of a hard matchup. Oftentimes I just hit the Butler. Then if you're playing against, I don't know, Based or some
Sure.
other matchup, just it's always good to just have this tool in your arsenal. Uh, Dragoon is a big problem for this deck, so having this card is really important for if my opponent plays Dragoon. Uh, let's see. Oh, and I
Scythe
just
too,
love
right?
how I can. Huh?
Scythe too, I assume. Like it's. Did you ever
Yeah,
use it
yeah.
against Scythe?
Scythe. It's for Scythe, Dragoon, stuff like that. Like just any real problem card. It's just really good that I can play other cards and then chain it and then send the cards I just used to, just to activate it. Uh, Two pots. Okay, my logic for this card was sometimes your hand isn't the best, and sometimes it is the best. But what this card does is it helps both scenarios. If it's bad, it gets you a card you need to at least play the game, and if your hand's really good, then you can just make your hand absolutely bonkers. Because, for instance, sometimes I would just go DPE, I'd have a lot of stuff, but then I'm like, well, if my opponent has a droplet or something, it's kind of irrelevant. So I could just a huge function of this card is to just dig for the floodgate. I would just grab summon limit sometimes. If I'm siding, I could grab scythe, other cards like that. Just really powerful cards that shut off my opponent's turn. When I did play this, like the cards, I did have questions about what cards I banished. It often depended on what I'd used already. If DPE's on board off of like Fusion Destiny, Banish a Verde, or a lot of most of the time it's the access code package, and sometimes just like one of each of the extra striker links. Because it just meant I wouldn't expect the game to go on that long to the point where I needed all of them. So uh, next cards, yeah, Fusion Destiny. That's pretty obvious. Uh, DPE, strong win con.
Yeah, definitely a good card.
Yeah, and then yeah, summon limit. This
This
card,
this was an
love
interesting
this card.
choice here. I was pretty surprised when I saw the first your profile. Um, yeah, why don't go ahead and explain this one? I know some people probably had a lot of questions about this one.
Yeah, so the reason I played this card instead, um, there can be only one is kind of weaker this format. You have situations where you're playing a lot of different decks that play a lot of different types and cards, so it hardly matters. But with this card, it just shuts off my opponent's turn. DPE, I could just save it for like the Brave cards and then let them try to continue with their actual deck. That's like asides from the Brave stuff or Adventure stuff, sorry. And after they just go for the second summon, they wouldn't really expect it, they wouldn't think about it, and then bam, just flip this card on them. It doesn't really hurt my own deck too much. Uh, once you have the DPE or you have like a striker card on field and you have anchors, it doesn't really affect you all that much.
Sure, so you're just using it basically to once you get your good monsters on field, you just use the summon limit to just kind of control the pace of the game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it's a slower tempo for the game, like if it's just being dragged out, I have higher odds of winning. So this card enables that. The game will be just dragged. It's not like the best card sometimes against matchups like Eldritch, but it worked all across the board, like across so many different matchups. Whether it's Prank Kid, this is one of the only few cards that kind of stops Prank Kid.
Hmm.
Uh, if you're playing against Flunder, two normal summons, they're done. Uh, Heck, you could even play against PK. I played against a mirror match too, where the people weren't using the Brave cards, and this card just stopped them. They. I had an instance the other day where, like, actually, someone used a cherry and hit all my Kagaris, and I still won because they couldn't deal with summon limit. So, yeah. So that's this card. I love this card. Really good. It's good, like, all around against every matchup for the most part.
And you weren't really worried about like opening it going second or anything. Like it's positives outweighed that.
I mean, actually, there were a lot of times where I did open this card going second, but that's the beauty of the deck. I could clear my opponent's board, and then I can set the card. So, after I clear the established board, I flip this up. There's no way they're coming back.
True, true.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for the main deck.
Awesome, man. Whichever you want to do next, side or extra.
We can do the side deck.
Cool.
So, uh, one Lancia, two Sanctum, and the Scythe. The Scythe was literally, we know what Scythe does.
Yeah.
Really insane card this format that should have been banned, but it isn't. Lancia, just, sometimes you play against PK and, it's just another target for Sanctum. Well, it's also another hand trap. I do play a lot of other hand traps already, so it's,
Sure.
I don't really feel like I need to side in more than one. I know a lot of people had like questions about my ratios and thought it was weird, and I don't blame them, but it works.
If it works, it
Surprises me
works,
too.
right?
So it works. So I don't know. Two Cyclone, still needed. Hit Scythe, but also people. I have come across people citing anti spell before, so just because order's gone, we're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. This card. Let's see. Duster. Mirror match Eldritch. I've sided in sometimes against Flunder. This card. People are wondering like, why one Lightning Storm? Oh, it's just another Duster. And against Flunder as well, I just kind of clear their monsters oftentimes.
Yeah, that
That's
card is
another reason.
very good against Flunders.
Yeah, it's a really strong card. It's it's just there. It's available, but I wouldn't want to play more than one. The restriction that I can't have face-up cards is like really important. It's a problem, and I only want to see this card like if I see it, great. All right, I play it once. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if I don't see it, then it's just well, it's one card in my deck. What are the odds I'm going to draw it later in the game? All right. Let's see. All right, this card right here. Mind Drain. Have a very specific reason for why I played this card, and it's Virtual World. That matchup is not easy. Virtual World just spits out monsters like left and right, and it's also part of why I played Summon Limit too. Um, it's a scary matchup. They have ways to access a lot of things, and I don't know. If I don't see Summon Limit, they outpace the deck. It's just that plain and simple. So that's the reasoning for Mind Drain. It's literally just that. And ironically enough, I mean, kind of off topic, but I did play at a local where a guy was playing like a burn deck, and he just kept battle fadering and scarecrowing me in this card.
Went in, huh? It was
I
MVP.
actually had, yeah, this card actually did help me, so
Nice.
it's really, really funny. Three judgments, right? Yeah. Reasoning for this is stops anything, but also protects the floodgates. Stops evenly matched. A lot of different cards that are just problematic for the deck if you're going first. Because I did encounter a situation oftentimes where I kept getting lightning stormed, and it was really frustrating.
Sure.
So yeah, I had to play this. Um, and there could be only one. This card, weaker this format, but still good against some matchups. Strong against Blunders, strong against Eldritch. Another matchup it is good for was it's one of a sleeper deck, which is the Earth Machine deck. People kind of didn't expect that deck to be really a thing, and it is a thing. So this card stops them. And
Okay.
Dragon Link, I guess, is one of the decks that this card is
That
strong
card is
against.
really good against Dragon Link.
Yeah, it stops them in their tracks off the time. So, then we can just get to the extra deck.
Cool. Yeah, let's jump right in.
All right. Link Spider, just because tokens. Uh, I have had a situation where I gamma summoned my driver, and I was able to just put my driver back in the graveyard because I Link Spidered it.
Nice. Keep Gamma
um,
alive.
yeah, keeps gamma alive. So we got Verde and DPE, really obvious. Like, if you're not playing these cards, what are you doing?
Best cards.
Death cards. All right. So what else we got here? We have two Shizuku. All right. The reason I only played two for this card is because it just wasn't necessary to play three. Room is tight, and most of the time the game is unlikely to drag on that long to the point where you're even going to summon your third one. And if it does drag out that long, you're oftentimes just not having anything really left in your deck to grab that's going to matter. So two was good enough. Uh, so we had three Kagari. It's pretty obvious. Sorry, I play mixed match low rarity, but it gets the job done.
Hey, they all add back engage, right?
They all do. All right, let's see. All right, yeah, two Hayate. All right, it's max. I am working on it.
There we
It's a work
go.
in progress. Yeah, two Hayate, really good. Uh, Probably one of the best cards in the deck. We have kinda, time is unfortunately a product of, competitive play, and you gotta do what you gotta do, and it protects you from dying sometimes. Um, let's see. Zeke. Zeke's really good. Clear your own tokens and stuff, and anchor your opponent's monster. Thing about it is too, like you can just bait out your opponent's negate. Like if they have Savage and you make this thing, then you force the negate out by targeting the Savage, and then you just play from there. And then we have the access code package. So yeah, Helki Fibrax, Celine, and access code. I think everyone knows what those do.
Did you kill a lot with those cards this weekend?
A few times, maybe like twice. It doesn't really come up often, but it's just good to have. It's there if you need it. Sometimes you do have to make the push. Ironically enough, there were quite a few times where I just summoned out Adventure Token, Enchantress, Striker monsters, and whatever, and I just put exact damage on board. I would just make the push with the token and the monsters. So, uh, yeah, it was really cool. I did this package did help in maybe like two games out of my entire tournament.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I
So
know I know it's been a couple weekends now since the YCS, or was it just one weekend ago?
this was one weekend ago. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any rounds or any matchups that stuck out to you that you want to go over?
Uh, yeah, I mean the only one that's really been on my in my head for like a week is just the top four I threw.
Sure, sure.
I did Bruin game two. I mean, you're going day after day and you just have no energy, and then you're like, well, I was like, right, oh, normal Ray, and I'm like, wait, why'd I do that? Like I should have just summoned the Ray and attacked Kagari, engage. It's
Yeah.
so plain. But that's the thing with these long tournaments is that it gets exhausting, and you know, my health is still kind of recovering from some other issues as well. So that's part of it.
Yeah, conditioning, people will
Uh,
be surprised. It's a big part of these longer tournaments, especially when we haven't had them in a couple years now.
yeah, yeah. Endurance is really important, and I think that's something I do have to work on for the next events. I am looking forward to them like announcing the new ones, but we are getting new cards like Albaz and stuff. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing going forward. Uh, you know, I do have some people I do practice with. I do go to locals really often, so yeah. I mean, when you're going to locals like almost every day,
Yeah, it helps.
it
It
will
helps
get
keep
you that.
practicing.
Yeah, I mean, like we play like 8 rounds every day, so it's like regionals every day.
At locals?
Yeah,
Dang,
yeah.
where's that at? I need to check that out.
Gamer's Choice. So Gamer's Choice in New York, and also belongs to James Chow. Shout out to James Chow. Also, Xeno Zero Gaming. That's also around here. That's belongs to High. That's one of the stores we play for. Uh, it's 8 round tournaments, and like the pricing's just phenomenal. They do a really good job with their tournaments. I have been here. I flew out here to start looking for work and live here, so that's why I'm here. Otherwise, California has also been a place where I practice, like Area 51. I'm sure you know where Area 51 is.
I'm familiar, yeah.
Yeah. And then, Comic Command Center in Sacramento. That's a good store too. So,
Awesome, man. Well, I gotta
um,
tell you, I'm a huge fan of this list. I actually really like the race shows. And like listening to you explain them, I actually like really enjoyed that. Before I let you go, do you have any final thoughts on the meta, things you're gonna be doing going forward? Would you make changes to the deck, or just anything you want to say, man? The floor is yours.
yeah, sure. I'll probably do a few more shout outs too, but, kind of don't want to miss anyone. But, going forward, it's kind of weird. As sad as it may be, I might just keep playing the deck. I like the deck as it is, but also, we don't really have much that changes up the format aside from the Albas structure deck coming up. And I'm still kind of unsure whether I'd want to play a deck like that because D barrier exists.
Sure, sure.
So I don't want to just normal summon and then have a barrier flipped on me and declaring fusion. So that's one thing. The one reason I did play this deck, I will say it right now again. It gave me a fighting chance against any matchup. There wasn't any matchup I just felt like I flat out lost against. Uh, you know, decks like, let's say, Dragon Link or even Prank Kids. You play against a Flunder deck, and what's going to happen is you're going to get de-shifted, or you're going to play against that one Eldritch guy who's going to flip like 5 traps on you game one, and like three floodgates on you, and then you're just wondering, well, what happened? I practiced for weeks and
Yeah,
I lost
definitely.
to a floodgate. So I don't want to play a deck like that. That just is fragile and loses to something like that. And this deck just has everything you needed. You know, it can answer a back row, it can answer a big boss monster, it can just deal with anything. So that's what I really like about it. Going forward, I don't know if people really catching on more to my list now. Like, I mean, it's out there. Uh, some people want to play it. You might see more. We might see more anti-spell use and different things in the format. So I'll have to kind of just adjust accordingly. Yeah. So, uh, yeah, I guess the last things I'd probably say is like shout out to Wesley, Craig. Um, you know, there's so many people I gotta thank. Like I couldn't have made it this far without. Shout out to Andy, Sang, uh, Elvis. There's just I don't know, man. I could have a whole list, a whole paragraph here of
That's good,
people to
man.
shout
That's
out
good
to. Yeah,
to have a lot of
George
friends that help
Willwood
you.
Ryan and Jonathan Verlanza. Those two as well. So, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, hey, this is actually our first profile doing this channel, man. So I just want to personally thank you for, breaking it down, showing us the list, and kind of explaining the ratios. Again, man, congratulations on top four. And yeah,
Yeah,
we
no
look
problem.
forward to doing some more profiles with you when you top some more YCSs, huh?
Yeah, hopefully win them next time. But
Okay,
yeah.
man.
All right. See you, David.
See you,
Appreciate
bro.
it. Yeah.
Awesome.